What's up, everyone? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Oilersnation After Dark. Connor Halley with you here, as per usual. Tough start to this one. For the Oilers, not a tough start. It was a great game for them. They win 4-2. That's now 6 straight wins for the Oil, and fighting their way back into the top 3 spots in the Pacific Division. We've got a great show coming up for you tonight. We'll be joined by Waz later on here. Before we get to that, though, and before we get to the good, the bad, and the oily, as we like to do here, we'll give you a quick rundown of exactly what happened in this game tonight. And for the Oilers, good start once again. Connor McDavid with his 40th goal of the season. It did not take long, only his minute 26 in. Zach Hyman with a beautiful fast up there on the breakaway. And that was just the beginning for Zach Hyman, which would be a fantastic night. He would score a goal on the power play. Connor McDavid with the assist. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins with the breakout pass to send them in on a 2-on-1. And then early on in the second period, Leon Draisaitl will make it 3-0. He takes the assist from Zach Hyman, his second of the night, of course. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, again, the long pass to get that one going. A couple great passes. Great patience by Nuge on those goals. Andrei Kuzmenko would score his 19th of the season to make it a 3-1 game. Evan Bouchard jumped up into the rush there, got caught a little high, and the puck goes the other way. Zach Hyman, busting his tail to get back on defense. Wasn't enough, though. Kuzmenko, a skilled player, would score, beat Stuart Skinner for the Canucks' first goal of the night. JT Miller would add another. But that is as close as the Vancouver Canucks would get. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins would get his 22nd goal of the season to lock in the Oilers' victory. And like I mentioned, the Oilers now on a 6-game winning streak. It's their longest of the season. Their next action will come on Wednesday when they take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Right now, we'll get to the good, the bad, and the oily, brought to you by Cornerstone Insurance. Cornerstone Insurance Brokers, Edmonton's premier boutique insurance brokerage with over 90 years of success and still growing. Visit cornerstoneins.ca/nation to get an online tenant or condo insurance code in just a few minutes and use the discount code NATION for an exclusive rate. Find out why Cornerstone Insurance Brokers are ranked amongst the best of the best in Alberta. And you can also give them a follow on social media at Cornerstone INS8 on Twitter, on Instagram at Cornerstone YEG. We now bring in Waz as we run down the good, the bad, and the oily after the Oilers' nice 4-2 win. Waz, good evening. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. The Oilers are in a 6-game winning streak. It's a weird emotion tonight because the Oilers won, but then you also saw what happened with Bruce Boudreau, and it's hard to stomach this win for some reason.
It was. It's been really tough to see what that guy has gone through, and I think it might come up here in the good, the bad, and the oily. But we start off with the good, as we usually do here. We want to get the good news going, and the hot starts continuing. I mean, there was a long time for the Oilers where they just couldn't find a way to get that first goal tonight. As we talked about, Connor McDavid, number 40 on this season. We don't want to even put a limit on where we think he'll go this season when it comes to goal total, because he's just been absolutely phenomenal. You saw the excitement with him when he scored the goal. He was pumped up. It was a great pass from Zach Hyman. And then, you don't stop there. Zach Hyman, 4-point night, career high in points, and he's done it in 29 games less than it did to get the previous career high, which was last season. I mean, this is exactly what you want to see from this Oilers team, especially going up against a team like Vancouver that is struggling. You got to get that hot start, and they did it again.
Yeah, and especially considering the way they played them last time out, where the Oilers were up 2-0, and then they kind of blew the lead. And this time the Oilers were able to hold on to the lead and play a little bit more safer towards the end. Vancouver did claw themselves back into the game. But honestly, it was just a nice victory. Unfortunately, Zach Hyman had a goal taken off, and I saw your little meme. It always seems to happen to him. It's not his first time, but it's just Zach Hyman, though. He had a really strong game. Some people on social media were saying that was his best game in an Oilers uniform. Best game this season, I would say.
Yeah, the meme was awful. I have an app on my phone called Fonto or Fonto, and it was bad. But anything Oilers people love on social media, so you got to go for it. And yeah, Zach Hyman. I mean, it's few and far between where you say he has a bad game, because even if he's not producing point wise, he impacts the game in so many other ways. The hustle, everything that he brings. I mean, he's always doing something right. Now let's go to the bad, and for this one, I mean, it's plain and simple. It's got to be the Vancouver Canucks. in general, like
Yeah.
obviously they're not playing well this season. Things aren't going well. They might have to trade away their captain at some point. But I think this is because of the way it's all gone down with Bruce Boudreau, a guy who I think consensus is good guy in the game, very well liked. He went there. And the way they've handled this the last couple of weeks, while the rumors swirl that Rick Tocchet will become their next head coach, has been an embarrassment, frankly.
Yeah.
They could have fired Bruce Boudreau a while ago. I know he would have accepted that. He understands it. That's, you're hired to be fired in this business. But instead, they kind of keep him dangling. They could have had Mike Yeo take over as an interim head coach. But the Vancouver Canucks, I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get what their plan is here. And, you feel bad for Bruce. You saw him after the game. The emotions were getting to him.
Yeah, it's strange to me because I don't think I've ever seen anything like this happen in professional sports, right? Like, I'm a big soccer guy, and, managers, coaches, they get sacked, fired all the time, but you never see this kind of happen the way this was handled. A coach doesn't typically hear that they're getting sacked or fired like a week prior. It's embarrassing to say the least on the Vancouver Canucks part, and I feel so sorry for Bruce Boudreau because I really liked him in Vancouver, and they should have just rode him throughout the rest of the season. If you're gonna go down with Bruce Boudreau. If you're gonna maybe get a top 3 pick, you at least fire him at the end of the season. It makes no sense. The Canucks this year, they're not going anywhere. Let's be honest. Is Rick Tocchet going to really change them that much? Maybe a little bit of a voice, a couple wins here and there, but ultimately the Vancouver Canucks are aiming for a pretty poor finish to end the season. And Bruce Boudreau, when he started in Vancouver, he had that he got them back. He clawed them way back. I don't know if you remember, but they won a 10-game win streak with Bruce Boudreau or something. So
yeah,
it sucks to see the way things have unfolded in Vancouver.
Yeah, 100%. I think they went on 2 long winning streaks last year and really played well with him. And it's embarrassing now since we just ripped on them so much. The uniforms looked good tonight. I love those jerseys. And the fans in Vancouver, Bruce, there it is.
It was class. I give full credit to the Canucks fans for they kept on chanting Bruce, there it is. And I'm pretty sure prior to the game they wanted. There was a Canucks fan on TikTok who tried to rally other Canucks fans who were going to the game to bring a sign saying "We stand with Bruce." I don't think it really caught on, or there was maybe an issue with bringing these signs into the game. But honestly, it was awesome to see the Canucks fans really stand by Bruce Boudreau.
Yeah, 100%. And just one more thing on this. I mean, you kind of touched on it there with Rick Tocchet, this toxic environment he's going to be coming to. I don't know if that's exactly something he wants to do. The fans are obviously going to be happy if he turns it around, but they got a long way to go. And management, I mean, they tweet something and half the replies are sell the team. So it's just a toxic situation out in Vancouver. Very quick, I want to say shout out to everyone on the YouTube chat right now, Facebook comment section. Keep those coming. We will get to them. We do appreciate it. And if you're on YouTube, hit that like button. I've slowly been learning about the algorithm. And my goal for this is that when people put in Oilers Connor, we come up instead of Connor McDavid. That's the goal for this. And I don't know if it'll ever get there, but we'll see. Set the expectations high or the hopes high. Okay, let's get to the Oily. And for this one, I mean, for the Edmonton Oilers right now, 6 straight. They've won 6 straight games. Their previous longest winning streak was 5. So they find a way to get it done. And it hasn't been against all bottom feeders. I mean, there's been good teams that they've beat. And, the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Vegas Golden Knights in there, the Kraken who are playing very good hockey. It's nice to see this team come out with a little more consistency in their game.
Yeah, they beat some pretty good teams in here, like you mentioned, like the Kraken, who were just above them. They beat the Golden Knights, who were also top of the Pacific. They beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've beat a mix of teams in this, which is nice to see. And when we talk about the bottom teams they've beaten, well, earlier in this year they'd lose to them, right? We lost to Anaheim. So it's great because the Oilers have now matched their longest win streak from actually last season, which was also 6 games. So it's interesting. I don't know how far it'll go. They take on Columbus on Wednesday, and then they have a pretty long gap of I think I saw in the next 16 days, they only have 2 games because of the All-Star break. So I hope it goes as long as it does, but they do have a pretty favorable schedule coming up as well.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at the standings now here, what this 6-game winning streak has done, the Oilers now 3rd in the Pacific which is fantastic. I mean, I don't know how you feel about this one, Waz, but I'm looking at it right now. That would mean a battle up against Seattle, right? So I think that could be a favorable
That'd be
matchup.
cool.
If you get first in the division, there's always that hope you get, or potential at least, to get the Colorado Avalanche, which, revenge would be
Yeah.
sweet, but I don't know if you want to see the Avalanche in the playoffs, especially in the first round. It'd be a very tough matchup. But the Kings lost tonight. The Kraken only picked up 1 point. So the Oilers right now, 48 games played, 57 points. The Kraken 2 points up on them with 2 games in hand. And the Vegas Golden Knights leading the way with 60 points. So the Oilers are 3 back.
Mm-hmm.
And the Oilers actually have one game more than Vegas. So Vegas has the game in hand. But,
Okay.
you go back 2 weeks, we didn't think this would be happening. And the Oilers just winning that 6 games straight consecutively, I mean, it thrusts them right back to where they need to be.
No, yeah, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying prior to this win streak. Is like I just wanted to see a little bit of consistency in the Oilers' results, and to go on to a 6-game win streak is more than enough. I think we were so used to seeing like 1 loss, 1 win, 2 losses, 1 win. It was so streaky up and down. So to go on a nice win streak here has been, I think, great for the group's confidence. Stuart Skinner, also shout out to him. He had a great game after coming back after a week and a half off, it seems. So overall, the team's been just gelling. They've been playing the way we kind of wanted them to play all season.
Yeah, 100%. Just looking into the comment section here on Facebook, Colton says, did anyone else take the prop bet of plus 5,000 for a Hyman disallowed goal? I mean, Betway, if you want to get in on that, I think Reed Wilkins had it at 4 times that's happened.
That's
feels
smart.
like more than that, but head over to Betway, make that bet 19 plus and gamble responsibly. But just scrolling through the chat here on Facebook, Jacqueline says, here we come, Lord Stanley. Candace says, Bruce, there it is. Also, let's go Oilers. Dane says, it was a weird feeling winning tonight for me, that's for sure. I think that probably has to do with Boudreau.
Yeah, no doubt. I think we mentioned that earlier. It's just weird to stomach because, Bruce Boudreau's leaving the bench in tears because he ultimately knows this is his last game. Hopefully not as a head coach. I made a joke on social media. And why don't the Oilers bring in Boudreau in some like an advisor role? I would love, I would love to see him somehow. Just have some, I don't know. I want to see the best for Bruce Boudreau because, as long as I've followed hockey, he's been a part of it, and which was like around 2008. So Bruce Boudreau is just he's a great character for the game of hockey, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to coach. I mean, he brought it up and he got really emotional, but he's got a spot in the media world. Yeah. If he wants it, he'll be there. Chad says, I'm sad for Bruce, but love the win, 100%. Ryan says, glad they didn't lose the lead again. Ryan, I mean, they've been good. Vegas and was it Seattle, Tampa? Like, there's been 1-goal leads and they've held them off. So you got to like that.
One thing I was going to mention about Bruce Boudreau was funny. Is I saw Flames fans on Twitter saying, maybe we bring in Bruce because things are not going down well south with Daryl Sutter. So maybe we see the return of Bruce, not this season, but I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I'd like to see him in Calgary, kind of spice up the Battle of Alberta between the benches, yeah.
Some more messages to Facebook. If you're on YouTube, we're going to get over there in a second here. Dylan says, Waz only makes his bed 2 or 3 times a week for the show. Hope you feel special.
Yes.
Can you confirm that?
I don't know. It's just a little wrinkly. I think it's made, but it's not that bad. It's definitely been worse,
It looks tidy.
I was watching hockey on there. Like, you can't blame me. Like,
Colton says, I just noticed Waz is wearing an Eminem shirt. Respect. Yes. Favorite Eminem song?
Oh, that's tough. I think it's easy to go with like Till I Collapse, but Not Afraid from Recovery is a personal favorite of mine. So
Till I Collapse. That's got Nate Dogg in it, right?
Yes.
So that's always a good one. Janice says, my heart breaks for Bruce. Head high, Bruce. You're loved. 100%. Bruce, you hate to see it, but Bruce is going to land on his feet for sure. Okay, we're hopping over to YouTube. There is 76 people checking in right now. Make sure you hit that like button. We got up to like 130 likes last episode. Let's try to, I guess physically we can't unless we get more viewers, but let's hit that like button. Let's keep it going here. Peter King, interested to see how Rick Tocchet and JT Miller mesh. Should be interesting. Yeah, JT Miller had that mini meltdown when Zach Hyman thought he scored that goal. Kind of lost it on the bench there. Genesis says Bedard is going to Arizona. Book it. Yeah, I think that kind of came up. If you could just keep keep the coaching staff intact there in Vancouver, keep losing. Dr. Gonzo, Bruce, there it is. Yeah, that was a good chant by the Canucks. I'll give them credit for that one. Chant for Connor Halley. I don't know. You guys don't have to do that. That's okay. Loomis says Cece's having a rough year. We can't be all positive. And you know what? I don't know if I told you, all these post games blend together, but last time we did a show with Zach Lang, and I asked him, if the Oilers go into 6 defenders, who comes out of your lineup? And he actually had Cody Cece drawing out. So, more and more people starting to see Cody Cece with his struggles.
Yeah, I noticed that tonight as well. I think he was on for one of the goals against, where he kind of was trying to block the second shot that went past Skinner. So I'm starting to notice that as well, which is too bad because, Cece had a strong year last year, and I think he's just having one of those second-year slumps with the Oilers. I think two defensemen for the Oilers that really haven't – him and Kulak, I would say, haven't been up to par. More so in CC, but it's too. But at the same time, you're having defensemen step up as well. The competition's ramping up with Broberg coming in and Darnay, right? So CC's it's tough. He's in a tough spot right now for him.
There was a little flash there in front of the net when Curtis Lazar drove the net. Took a little whack on Stuart Skinner. Darnell Nurse jumps in, and I noticed Dakota Washington, who's a big dude himself, was kind of hovering, but Vinny Desharnais was right behind him, towering over him. And I think Washington kind of saw that. I was like, I don't know if I need to jump in on this one. I don't know if I need to go up against that big guy. I love the intimidation factor that Desharnais brings there. A little factoid popping up. Leon Draisaitl extends his point streak to 6 games. 6 goals, 5 assists. You'll love to see that continuing. But, it was one of those games where the stars were bright for the Oilers. Of course, McDavid, Hyman, Draisaitl, Nuge scoring the goals. But at the same time, I didn't mind the play from some of those role guys. Not obviously getting the stat sheet, but getting their opportunities. Warren Fogle continues to get opportunities to put the puck in the back of the net.
Even Derek Ryan, he had the chance earlier and then somehow got called for a penalty. That was confusing. And I'm a big Derek Ryan guy, and there was a rumor today. Not rumor, it was Daniel Ducey-Bowman who said that they might consider extending Derek Ryan. I would love to see that because he's just a guy who fits well into the fourth line. Sometimes toss him into the third line. So I'm loving to see the bottom 6 kind of flourishing a little bit, even when they're not scoring.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it, right? Don't give up too many opportunities. If you outscore, that's a bonus. Derek Ryan, I kind of joke, you got to put bubble wrap on Spencer Martin. I mean, he barely touched him. They give him that call. I don't know what he's supposed to do in that situation. He doesn't barrel him over. He's trying to play the puck, and no harm, no foul, in my opinion. Very light call. And then Hyman goal, I guess you just got to stay out of his crease a little bit. On the Facebook chat, Safe says Rutherford is more dysfunctional than Nicholson. That's an interesting one. I mean, Rutherford is not making any friends right now with the way he's handled Bruce Boudreau. It is a bad look for the organization.
No, and a lot of people do sometimes bring the Oilers into these conversations with how they handle things. And people are like, it's just crazy to think that a franchise can handle coaching situations like this worse than the Oilers. It's you know what? The Canucks are setting a new standard right now. It's not looking good. And I'm very interested to see what the Flames are going to do with Daryl Sutter now as well, with his comments with Jacob Pelletier today, because it's looking ugly on both Canadian markets in the West. Edmonton is... we're in a safe spot. We're enjoying ourselves. Calgary, Vancouver, they're not having fun.
Gavin, our producer tonight, sitting in for Aaron, giving me this factor. The Oilers haven't allowed more than 3 goals since January 9th. That's 6 games. Coincidentally, on the 6-game winning streak in the process, Vinny Desharnais been in the lineup for all of those games. How long do you think the 11-7 can go for?
I don't know.
Can you go
all year?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's so strange because Vinny Desharnais technically been a part of all 6 victories here since he's been on the Oilers. So it's I don't think you can remove him from the lineup. I think if anything, you're gonna have to drop a forward. Puljujarvi is back in because Janmark is sick. So I would like to see him go 12-6. But I don't know. This is Jay Woodcroft's got some tough choices to make here.
Yeah, I mean, I've really liked in this stretch, and obviously when it's working, we're going to praise it. And the second they lose a game, we'll find holes in it. But Dave Manson, I mean, the distribution for me has been really good. Darnell Nurse is going to lead the way as he will whenever he's out there. 25 minutes. The guy is an absolute stallion out there. Great shape. I would be dead after 5. But, you look at it elsewhere. Cody Ceci was at 18. Evan Bouchard, 15. Kulak, 17. Tyson Barrie, 14. And, Tyson Barrie with only one power play that only lasted 47 seconds. You're not going to get too much time out of him. That usually boosts his numbers a little bit. But Philip Broberg, 16, and then Vinny Desharnais, 11, 13. So kind of spreading it out, trying to use these guys in a smart manner. And it would have been nice to see the Oilers get a few more power play opportunities to get those guys out there. But I like the distribution up front. Connor McDavid leading the way with 23 minutes. Getting some penalty kill time. I like him on the penalty kill. I don't know how long that lasts for. Obviously he's not going to get in too many shooting lanes ideally, but do you like the threat that he brings on the penalty kill?
McDavid?
Yeah.
It brings a different element, especially with his speed, I would say. It's, a lot of people tend to criticize McDavid's defensive game in a sense, but I think he can play in almost any situation. He's Connor McDavid here. He reads the game so well, it's, I see no issue with it, but sometimes you would want to maybe save his energy for like the power play or 5-on-5. Also, Nugent Hopkins with a nice 3-point night as well. Just overall, I'm looking at the stat sheet, and the time on ice was kind of spread out pretty evenly. The Oilers with the least amount of time played was actually Klim Kostin with 10 minutes and 57 seconds. We all love Klim, but sometimes he doesn't get a ton of ice time, surprisingly. So another thing I noticed was Evander Kane. Somebody mentioned on our Instagram, was like, is Evander Kane injured? He's barely played. I'm like, no, he played 17 minutes. So, So, it's great to see. But to end your point, McDavid on the PK, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah, I love it because I just think all it takes is one bobbled puck at the blue line, and you got an offensive opportunity. He led all forwards in time on ice when it comes to the penalty kill. And Evander Kane, maybe not his most noticeable game. He still played 17-23. 4 shots on net, 3 hits, and we're saying you didn't really notice him out there. So pretty good game for Evander Kane. That's not a thing you want to hear when you're a forward defensively. If they don't notice you probably did all right. But Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, like you said, 3-point night for him, and bringing the 2-2-on-1 goals. I thought, so patient too on that second one here that he had. It would have been on the Draisaitl goal when he sent it up to Hyman, who kind of tapped the Draisaitl. Just that quick shot, just that quick finish there. Just kind of waiting, and then let it go. I don't know what you guys have thought at Oilers Nation. Maybe the discussion came up, but on our pregame shows at 1260, we've had a lot of people say, Nuge can't keep this up. He's not going to be productive, but he just keeps on doing it, finding ways to get it done.
Yeah, I think when you're in a hot streak like this, like Nugent Hopkins is, it's just going to continue going. He's just so confident right now, just like Zach Hyman. Zach Hyman, they were saying on the Sportsnet broadcast, he's on pace for now with 40 goals. Gregor tweeted he's on pace for over 80 points. So I think Nugent Hyman, they might have a dip here and there, but I think that's okay. They're still going to be producing, and all that matters is they're staying consistent, right? So also Gavin putting up on our little private chat here, averaging 6 shots on goal per game too in that span. So
McDavid, as he said there, goals in 5 of the 6 games in the winning streak and averaging 6 shots on net. That was always the thing. McDavid, I don't know, for better or for worse, has always been kind of that pass first, shoot second guy. But this year he's developing that shooter's mentality, and my God, I think we all knew this could happen. If he ever just said, you know what, I'm going to score 50. He would go out there and score 50. Now, he might score 60. He might score 70. This guy has just been unstoppable so far this year, but really nice to see. And one thing we've talked about here on After Dark, he's finding different ways to score. He used to be a guy who wanted to take it in tight, and now he's developing that shot. And even every once in a while, that one-timer.
Yeah, and I tried mentioning this on the live show where I was lagging all the time, but I wanted to mention how McDavid is so unpredictable for defensemen now, because he can score in any way possible. He can shoot it. He can dangle you out. He's a defender's worst nightmare. Either you have to make a big stop on him or defend him really well or push him to the outside. It's incredibly hard to defend him. He's got everything, and he's the most complete offensive player I think we've seen in modern day hockey.
Yeah, I mean, I would not argue. No one else comes to mind. I mean, we've seen great
Yeah.
offensive players, but we have never seen someone who does it as fast as him, as unpredictable. Like he'll mix in between the legs. You know, he can
Mhm.
do all that sort of stuff, and he's just adding to his game, which is really encouraging to see. Not anything to do with this game, but Waz, did you see the video that surfaced on Friday of Jesse Puljujarvi and Leon Draisaitl working in practice on their one-timers?
Yes, because I was there actually.
You were there, okay.
Yeah, it was Kenny and I, our graphics guy. We got free passes to go to or this practice. Season ticket holders every couple of weeks or months they're allowed to go to an open practice. And I saw a lot of criticism on Jesse Puljujarvi because he slap shots, and I'm like in the back of my mind, well, every Oiler that was practicing slap shots, they weren't perfect. Like they weren't going full effort. I mean, I posted a video with Dylan Holloway, and he was missing the net. Tyson Berry's missing the net, right? So it's like, I think people were looking way too much into that because unless you're Leon Draisaitl, you're probably going to miss the net a few times practicing one-timers.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes I take this off in a different direction, and I talk about football, like the NFL, and I've heard corners talk about at practice or training camp. They'll be like, "Oh, I got burned, but I was working on a new technique." Everyone on social media says I suck, but I was trying something new,
Yeah.
and I think that's what Leon and Jesse Puljujarvi were working on. Jason Strudwick, a guy who played in the NHL for a little bit, he said it. He said it looks like he's trying to change the release here. Like he's working on new things. So for the people who want to say, beer leaguers shoot harder than that, I think you got to bite your tongue a little bit. And I think Leon's probably talking to Yessa, hey, let's work on this. Let's try this. Really encouraging sign to see for me. So I just wanted to bring that up because you were there. It just seemed like he was taking a lot of unnecessary flack for trying to improve. So, I'm not going to get on the rip Yessa for that sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part with Jesse Puljujarvi right now is that he's in a spot where people are going to nitpick every single thing he does. It's sad because I want to see the best for him. I'm kind of like in the neutral stance with him. It's like, okay, well, if he doesn't play well, he doesn't play. I'm not going to pick a side on this.
Yeah. Hey, call it down the middle, right? If you want to see him out there, but if you can't defend poor play, it's just what's going to happen. Gavin is killing it right now with the stats. He says if you take away McDavid's power play goals, he'd still be 15th in the league in goals. So yeah, I mean the guy can do it everywhere. I think he had 6 game-winning goals going into tonight. I think Leon Draisaitl and Kyle Connor were leading the way with 8.
Mm-hmm.
And Draisaitl would have the game winner tonight, so maybe he's up to 9 now. So yeah, they're scoring goals when it matters.
Quickly to go back to Connor McDavid, he's the fastest player to score 40 goals in a season since Pavel Bure in 1999, and it's crazy to think, considering we live in the era of Alex Ovechkin, who was on the brink of breaking Gretzky's record. So the fact he hasn't done that, and Connor McDavid's doing that in his 26th year, or his 8th year in the NHL, that's scary.
Oh, man, we got people coming in here talking about Jesse Puljujarvi. Hot button issue. Some people think he'll be gone. I mean, hey, if the Oilers do want to bring someone in, he would be a guy who, you could make the move to generate some cap space. An unfortunate truth because we know he's loved here. But, Dylan says on the Facebook Messenger here, Crosby was damn awesome for a long time. Still a very good player on the backside of his career. He scored a lot of goals, but he didn't do it in the same fashion as Connor McDavid, at the speed that he did. He found other ways. I'm not going to knock Sidney Crosby, one of the greatest of all time, going to the Hall of Fame. He could go in the second he retires, and I wouldn't argue it, but he's phenomenal. What did you think of Stuart Skinner getting back out there? I mean, it was Vancouver, and, he's obviously well rested, but faces 26 shots, 24 saves. Had a highlight reel save in the second period. I mean, a pretty good game to get back in there for Stuart Skinner.
Stuart Skinner played like an all-star, right? There's a reason why he's going to the all-star game. And, I'm obviously the man on TikTok, and I read a lot of TikTok comments, and people were like, oh, why is Stuart Skinner going to the all-star game? Why are them? Like, well, if you look at the Pacific Division goalies, only Logan Thompson has like better numbers than Stuart Skinner. The others are like Phoenix Copley, maybe Dan Vladar. They've all only played like 15, 16 games. Stu's played 27 now. He's playing like a pretty solid all-star, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think you're 100% right. Like the division obviously plays into
Yeah,
it. That's going to contribute to it, but he's played well. And I
yeah,
think you can
you
almost
can't
say
knock him.
the Oilers tandem has been an all-star
Yeah,
performance.
that's
Like Jack
another thing.
Campbell, he's found his game. Everything right now is kind of going the Oilers' way. They're getting tougher to play against. The schedule's getting easier. They're getting healthy. 5-on-5, they're playing better. Their depth is starting to show up. They're getting goaltending, and they're I think tougher to play against now. Like the biggest thing I liked about Evander Kane last year, obviously the swagger, but he's kind of a jerk, and he's got that unpredictability. And last year when he got towards the team, I think it was Marcus Niemelainen was a guy who just got back there and was throwing some hits. Like last year we saw them kind of turn that edge. This year Vincent Desharnais is a guy who's out there, and I heard actually with that Patrick Maroon fight. Desharnais and Clean Costin were in the room together. They sit beside each other, and Desharnais was going to fight Maroon, but Clean wanted him. He said, "No, I want him. I
Wow.
want him." So like that's pretty badass. I mean, I like
Yeah.
that swagger that you're starting to see from these guys with this team. This team right now trending in the right direction for sure. It's really good to see. And yeah, they get a bit of a break here off till Wednesday when they take on Columbus, but that's okay. I mean, it's really encouraging to see, and we'll see. It's a little far ahead, but who do you go back to for the goaltending start on Wednesday? Do you go back to Jack Campbell, or do you
Hmm.
think Stuart Skinner gets another go here? And let us know on YouTube and Facebook. What do you think? We'll try to gauge the opinion.
I would go maybe back to Jack Campbell against Columbus, Stu against Chicago, and then that's tough. No, I would go Stu against Columbus. That way, Stuart Skinner might have a bit of a break going to the All-Star game, so you start Jack Campbell against Chicago, right? So just give Stu a bit of a longer break, maybe, if that helps. So, yeah, I don't. It's tough to say because this is a good problem to have for the Warriors, isn't it? To have two good goalies right now, it's we were going to the league hoping to have one of the better tandems, and now it's showing at the right time of the year. And like earlier, you're mentioning the Oilers are now also standing up for each other. They're playing with a bit more of an edge. They're physical, and I think they kind of realized at some point, like, boys, we could miss the playoffs if we don't step it up here. And I think they all want to go back to where we were in May and April, where the energy in the city was buzzing. Like it's like we don't want to miss out on that, and they're clearly playing with a reason to play.
Yeah, when you guys were in Vegas, and it looked like an amazing trip, and this sounds like a good time to let people know about the Nation Vacation coming up in March 10th to 12th. You get to see the Oilers Leafs. You'll stay at the Royal York Hotel. For more information, nationgear.ca. It's an experience powered by AMA Travel. Check them out on social media at AMA Travel on Twitter and on Instagram, AMA_travel. The vacation looked awesome. I know AMA did such a good job, and you guys all had a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, I really want to go to that Taco Bell now. You guys hyped up the
Oh, the
cantina.
Taco Bell cantina was great. It was. If you needed a snack at 2 a.m, it was there for you. It was your friend. It was that, but also I think if Aaron's in the chat, and Gavin, we need to give a little love to Raisin Canes. That was the underrated performer of the trip. Raisin Canes was solid. Some of the best chicken I've ever had.
Gavin is more than welcome to hop on here,
Yeah,
but
if you would, yeah.
he might be a little camera shy. But if you want Gavin, hop in here. You can talk about the food that you had down in Vegas, food and drinks. Again, it's the AMA Nation Vacation, nationgear.ca in Toronto. From what Aaron tells me, it's a little bit of a classier experience. It's not Vegas, it's
This one's
Toronto.
as they would say, is more bougie.
Yeah.
However, if the Oilers win, it will be like a playoff atmosphere. That's what happens when the Oilers win on a nation vacation. It feels like a playoff atmosphere away. It's in the regular season. It's great. So, but then again, we are playing Toronto. The Oilers have not had the best luck against the Maple Leafs in recent years. So it wouldn't be a bad time to kind of break that streak against them.
100%. And you know what? You go to that game, you'll lift the boys' spirits at the game, and then you can go to the Hockey Hall of
Mm-hmm.
Fame, which I went to last May, and it's unbelievable. So, anyways, we really went on a long tangent there, and I kind of forget what I was talking about. It was Vegas, and anyways, the mindset. And what we kind of talked about after the game was, people were saying the guys won, let them go party in Vegas. And I don't think the Oilers leadership group had that mentality. I think it was, guys, we're still out of a playoff spot almost. We got to win hockey games, and then they went and did that, and they've continued it. Like, I think something in the team's mindset has clicked where, okay, guys, if we keep doing what we're doing, this is going to be really stressful down the stretch. Let's get it in gear now. And since the loss to the LA Kings, I mean, they found that gear, and they look a whole lot better.
Yeah, and as Gavin just mentioned in our chat there, he says the Oilers' second easiest strength of the schedule. Second easiest strength of schedule the rest of the season. This is true also because I was looking at the Oilers' schedule going forward, and, I think in March and April combined, they play the Coyotes, the Sharks, and the Ducks 8 times. That's easy points right there for the Oilers if you want to really grab a playoff spot. So obviously there's going to be a few tough teams here and there. Like I said, they have yet to play the Maple Leafs, who are one of the best teams in the East, and they've been a thorn in our side every time we played. So I'm interested to see how that match will go. But a lot of easy points to grab, but like the Oilers have shown us that no game is particularly easy, right?
Yeah, I mean, individually, when you look at what some of these guys are doing this year, Connor McDavid, the points. So he's at 88 points. The websites haven't updated, so that's just me putting together 86 plus his 2 points tonight. 88. I mean, there's games when they're going to play the Ducks and the Sens, who can give up a lot of goals, the Canadians, right? Like, there's going to be games that can be point night. It's really interesting to see, because going into this one, Draisaitl was second in the league in scoring with 72. Tonight he had just the 1 point. And he's up to 73.
When you talk about Draisaitl stats, like, I feel like with how Connor McDavid's been playing, he's been kind of overshadowed. Does that make, like, I feel like not enough people are talking about Draisaitl's season?
Yeah, I mean, he's played fantastic. He missed a couple games, 72 points, 73, and he's still 8 points up on Nikita Kucherov. Like, he does get kind of overlooked, I'm sure, and I think the Athletic did that NHL 99 and left him off, but had Austin Matthews there, a guy who's never won an MVP or the scoring race. He's got a 50-goal season under belt. He's a very good player. Yeah. But if you're going to have Austin Matthews there, you should probably have Leon Draisaitl. I think that would be the debate. But he is going to be a guy, I think, kind of similar to Geno Malkin out in Pittsburgh. He'll always be under the radar simply because who he is, and he'll never be appreciated around the NHL like he should be.
Yeah, and it's a shame, but I think that's okay, because it kind of takes a little bit less the pressure off him, and just kind of, Leon Draisaitl's that type of guy. It's where he wants to show his best when it matters most, and I think he's going to show it in the playoffs as well.
Yeah, and I think the playoffs kind of where his game thrives, where he can kind of be a little chippy, be on the edge there, and showcase that physicality. I mean, we know what he did last year. Was it 2 points per game in the playoffs, basically on one leg? Like, it was unbelievable what he did. If he was healthy, who knows what could have happened. But yeah, I mean, it is really good to see. We know those guys are going to show up, and it's encouraging to see some of the team's younger players really start to get going here. Dylan says Draisaitl's next contract, 11.75 a year, to place him a shade under Connor. I mean, man, the NHL's cap has to go up. I think half the teams in the league are using LTIR, and it's not a very good situation. So, I mean, cap has to go up or contracts have to go down. Hopefully one of those things will happen. Gavin gets here on the chat. Topic of discussion: how long till Kane gets going? No points since his return. I mean, it's early.
Maybe a week.
Yeah.
Right. It's scary to think. Like, I was looking at the Oilers goal totals, and the Oilers could finish this year with at least 3 players with over 30 goals. I'm questioning, could have Kane been a fifth? So yeah, they could have 4 players with over 30 goals this year, and Evander Kane, I feel like he could have been up there as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I mean, he was what, 4th or 5th on the team in scoring until a week ago. Like, he was just lingering around there. Maybe that's more of an indictment on the rest of the team. But when you look at Draisaitl's next contract, it's going to be big. And for Evander Kane, let us know in the chats here. When do you think Evander Kane gets his first point? I'm going to say Wednesday. I want to be optimistic, kind of like Rusty.
First point, yeah. I'll say in Chicago. I think Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gets it going on the road. I mean, is it on the road or are they here?
I'm not too sure, actually. I can go check the schedule real quick here. Let me see here. We are playing at At home, yeah. Two
All
more home
right.
games, and then we have the All-Star break.
Well, I mean, home is where the Oilers definitely need to
Yeah.
get things going a little bit on the road this season. Very good. 15-7-1 at home, 12-11-2. So they can get it going at home. I think that would probably be a very good thing for this team. The chat right now on YouTube, fired up. Someone says that's where the party is on that chat. Yeah, I mean, it's always a good time. It's always a good time. I don't even know if they're paying attention to us, Waz, but they're having a good time in the chat room. Maybe drop like a exclamation mark if you're actually listening to what we say. Then we'll know how many of you are tuned in here.
I know the YouTube chat's rolling. I see them. Facebook, what's going on?
Okay.
This takes me back to when I used to stream on Twitch way before I was with the Nation. So I'm always paying attention to the chat.
Good. I'm glad. I'm trying to keep up with it. It's where I come from. We just have one thing you have to look at. Now I'm going everywhere. Yeah. Okay, we got some exclamation marks coming in here, so that is good to see.
Sorry to cut you off, but yeah, Loomis says that there was someone on Facebook that mentioned Morgan Frost. The cap hit is okay. He's a left shot center. I don't think it makes sense. I don't know. I like the name Morgan Frost. I feel like Oilers fans will make great memes out of his name, but like that's.
I mean, for playing in Edmonton, it fits. I mean, you look at it. First round pick when he was drafted, like 5 years ago. 46 games played, 10 goals, 12 assists. Yeah, 5'11", 170. I don't know. We'll see. I'm with you. I like the name. I mean, right now you've won 6 games in a row, and you're starting to get performances from your depth scoring. So I don't know if I'm in a rush right now to make a move.
No,
I think Ken Holland obviously has to field some calls and plan for it, but I'm not rushing right now.
I think this is kind of part of why, Ken Holland's not really rushing to make a trade right now, because like you look at the rest of the league, no one else is making deals. Tyler mentioned that there's been no big trades. I think a lot of GMs are going to wait until the deadline to really make a move and just see how the market's going, right? I think that's important. You have to be a little patient right now. And I know Oilers fans can be really kind of trigger happy. Like, oh, get Chychrun, oh, get this player. I think right now, let's be patient. Let's, we're on a good roll right now. Let's gel with what we got.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I'm just, as we're going here, I want to see if I can find how many teams are using LTIR, because I really do think that makes it tough on teams to get things done. Like last time I looked, it was, I believe, half the teams. And then even the teams that aren't have like no cap space at all. So making moves right now is going to be tough, and they're going to have to find clever ways to do it. Maybe sending some picks along. I think Yaremchuk had a good idea earlier on this year, and it was involving like the Coyotes to take a player and take some cap space and then move on from them. It's really going to test the creativity of general managers right now to try to figure some of these things out. But I mean, right now I don't think I'm in the biggest rush if I'm Ken Holland. Like I said, I'm listening to phone calls. I'm probably sending out some feelers, but I don't know if I would be going out there and pursuing some big moves. The chemistry seems to be good with this team right now.
Yeah, I think there's a chance we'll see a trade when Yamamoto returns. And Rick on Oilers Nation Radio has been mentioning this, like when it comes to Puljujärvi specifically, it's like you trade him and Yamamoto still continues to get hurt. Well, who's going to fill that right wing's position, right? Like I feel the Oilers' right side is kind of what's the word? It's weak. There's not a lot of options there, especially maybe Bakersfield. I don't really know, but you need someone to replace on the right side if Puljujärvi's gone. Yeah.
Bakersfield, I mean, there's not a whole lot there right now. The Oilers are kind of taking everything off the shelves down there. So, I mean, it'd be interesting to see what they would do. Loomis says, I actually have you muted, Conman. Just here for your shiny, bright face. I guess I do have a bit of a shine going on right now. I got to go into makeup and correct that one. Yeah, Saturday. This is me, baby. DJ Dedalius. Sorry if I butchered it. I left the Facebook chat and came here. YouTube seems to be where it's at. People are loving the YouTube chat. Yeah, Facebook, I love it.
I always love you. What else? Woodcroft is low-key a genius for his forward combos. Oh, so I just want to talk about that, Mr. Russ, the Reckless Optimist. On Twitter specifically, a couple of weeks ago, people were saying, fire Woodcroft. And I'm like, no. Not at all. That should not be an option. We are at the midway point of the year. Look at us now. We're on a 6-game win streak. Everybody's happy. It's easy to get negative when things are not going your way. And let's not fire Woodcroft because your favorite player is not playing a lot. It's yeah.
Oh, I'm hopping in here to the YouTube. I love everything going on here. And YouTube is kind of like a smaller Twitter right now because Twitter's back and forth. DJ says, agreed, still really like Chychrun. Then Genesis and Peter on the same page saying, don't need Chychrun, and Peter want nothing to do with Chychrun. I mean, that he was a very popular name for a long time, and I'm sure he will continue to be. I think he's let it be known he doesn't want to play in Arizona. And yeah, I mean, it's all about price and what they can get for him, and who's willing to pay whatever the asking price is. I forget who we had on the show, but they had mentioned that they think that price will come down. So we'll see.
Probably, I could see that because Chychrun's been wanting out of Arizona for a while. Arizona's been wanting to get rid of him for a while. At some point he's gone. I saw some people chatting that why should we go after Chychrun if Broberg's playing so well? I don't know. It really depends on what the cost will be.
What did you think of Pettersson getting that shot on Broberg?
I don't know. That was weird. Swede on Swede. A little bit of frustration from Pettersson's point of view. I think you can't blame him. There's a lot of emotion going around Vancouver right now. Even I just saw a clip of JT Miller just slamming his stick when he was on the bench and just losing his emotions. So it's a tough time to be a Vancouver Canuck. I would hate to be them.
Yeah, that was after the Hyman goal that was disallowed. Mm-hmm. That's when JT Miller lost it. And I feel like that might have been like, damn it, the game's over. Because I think he really wanted to win that for Boudreau and felt it slipping away. Obviously, the goal did not count, so it didn't end up being too big of a deal. But yeah, a lot of people here are saying no Chychrun. Tyler says, what about Dumba? So Matt Dumba out of Minnesota, healthy scratch twice, 2 games in a row. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to go look at the contract and see, how you make it work. That's probably a big one there, but we'll see.
If there's one player I really want, it's Gavrikov out of Columbus. But I think the price might be a little too high, especially if they want a first-round pick. But I really just want to shut down defensemen on this blue line. I know, maybe Darnay is that guy, but we don't know how long Darnay is going to be up here, considering just there's so many logistics right now with the Oilers with the line combinations. Going 11-7. Will they go back to 12-6? Who do they drop? There's so many it's making my head hurt.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that was a name that was brought up for a while, and I remember the response was like, you can't give up a first for him. And now it's like, well, I mean, maybe he could be someone that fits. Gavin, thank you very much. Man, Gavin, you're doing work back there behind the scenes. Dumba's a UFA after this year. He's a $6 million cap hit. So you have to get $6 million out. So JP to Minnesota?
Maybe.
Warren Fogle?
But Warren Fogel's trying to. He's showing that he can still play in this lineup. He's trying to stay in there. So, someone's gonna get traded. Maybe 2 players. Ken Holland's got some moves to make, especially if he wants to make a run at the Cup final. And honestly, if there's any year for the Oilers to make a run to the Cup final, it's got to be this year, considering how Colorado's kind of been with injuries. If this is you look at the teams around the Western Conference, Dallas is looking good. Colorado, I just mentioned, I don't know. This could be a year where the Oilers could really take advantage of some of the teams in the Western Conference.
Okay, we got lots coming in here. Genesis, it's 1:30 where he is, so he's going to bed. Genesis, expect you to listen to the podcast the rest of it tomorrow and like it and subscribe, do all those things. Sweet dreams. We've got here, Dumba is good, but he's a Band-Aid player. I'd say that's fair, Dylan. Peter says, don't laugh at me. I like Luke Schenn. I think people do like Luke Schenn. I don't think, I'm not going to laugh at you. What else do we got here? What cost for Dumba? That's the one you got to figure out. Man, I feel like I'm contradicting I'm definitely going to contradict myself here because I just said that they're playing well, so maybe I'm not in a rush to make a move. But at the same time, do we factor in the opponents right now? I mean, they did beat a good team. They beat twice in this winning streak. They beat Tampa. They beat Vegas.
Vegas.
They got it done, but I mean, at the same time, if you're looking at those playoff teams and the physicality that some of them bring, maybe you still do look to add, even though I just said you don't have to.
I would just wait until the deadline. Honestly, that's when a lot of teams are going to be selling. That's when you can get a better gauge on what's going on. And like I said, I do feel like we're going to see a trade once Yamamoto returns. My only worry with Yamamoto is if he can stay healthy throughout the year, because something's going on with him. We don't really know what's up, and it's concerning.
Yeah. I mean, because he did take the pregame skate in that game the day of the game against the Sharks, right? And then declared himself not good to go. So you wonder, and I guess the luxury right now is for the Oilers playing so well, and with the easier schedule coming up, there's no rush to get him back out there. There was a text on the old YouTube chat. Someone says, when do we play Boston? February 27th, the Bruins will be in town. And then March 9th, the Oilers are in Boston. So
I'm excited for that.
Man, the Bruins are a good team, eh? They've really built something.
Easily the best team in the NHL this year. Another one of those measuring stick games. And like I said, we haven't played a ton of the top teams in the East, including Toronto. But other than that, it's like you look at the schedule, the Oilers don't play a ton of tough teams down the road here. Everyone's definitely beatable.
Yeah, I mean, the home and home against Winnipeg will be something to watch out for, I think. I'm a Kyle Connor guy, big fan of him. But yeah, you look down that stretch. You got LA, Anaheim,
Winnipeg
Anaheim.
is a team that's been very strong as well. So we play them back to back in March.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy when you look into April.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at.
Lots of California teams. How do we not have a Flames game in there? Come on, NHL, wake up.
Yeah, it actually came down to a scheduling thing. One of our buddies at Hockey Fights, he told me that the NHL kind of does this thing where every year they kind of flip it. So last year, because we played the Flames 5 times, or we played them how many times last year? Was it 3 times we played the Flames last year?
I mean, I'm gonna bring it up right here. So outside of the playoffs, we got to go to the regular season here. Their first meeting was October 16th, was a 5-2 Oilers win. They had a game postponed. Then they beat them 5-3. They lost 3-1, lost 9-5. So 4 games?
Yeah, so the way the NHL determines games is strange, because apparently it's like, because we played them so many times last season, now this year we only play them 3 times. It's like the same thing with the Canucks. We just finished our season series with the Canucks, and it is weird that we don't have another game against the Flames just somewhere around in the I made a TikTok about it like around when we played the Flames in December, if anyone wants to go check that out. So I have a whole TikTok explaining on what the schedule is. I just can't remember it off the top of my head.
Okay, we've got Gavin, our producer extraordinaire, saying if the Oilers trade their first round pick, it'll be the first time they did it. They wouldn't pick in the first round since 2006. The year they went all in, made the Cup final. Time to do it again.
I mean, we traded that first round pick for Dwayne Rolison.
Yeah, it was the 2016 first round pick for Dwayne Rolison, who turned out to be Trevor Lewis, and also a conditional third rounder, which became Spencer Machasek. And then the team also traded Reisner, Jan Stastny, and a 2006 second-round pick for Sergei Samsonov. Do you know who that pick turned out to be?
I can't think off the top of my head.
2006 second-rounder. I'm not going to tell you yet, because that's my trivia for tonight. There's no prize yet. Maybe one day we'll get prizes. But there's a pretty good player who he eventually became an Oiler.
Oh, okay. So he got drafted in 2006.
Yeah.
In the second round. Oh,
if I gave you the team, I think you'd probably get it.
Is it Minnesota?
No, Boston.
Okay. Is it? No, it's not. It's not Lucic.
No, or is it?
Is it Lucic?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought we got drafted maybe a year before. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, Milan Lucic. So they brought in Dwayne Rolison, Sergei Samsonov, and those were the big deadline pieces. Dwayne Rolison was unbelievable making saves, but also the little stuff he would do, knocking his helmet off to get the guys a little breather, the things like that. That season, they also brought in Yaroslav Spacek, Tricky Dicky, Tarnstrom. So, yeah, that was
Mm-hmm.
Will they do it again? I mean, could the time be now? This would be a good year to do it.
I think the last thing to mention real quick here is that tomorrow is the anniversary of Peter Chiarelli's firing. So, little fun fact, I think we have an article going up on Oilers Nation, kind of doing a retrospective on that, so keep a look on that. Yeah, it's been a couple of years since Pete's, and, I was looking back earlier, and Peter Chiarelli in his drafting was not too bad. He's found some gems past the first round, so maybe Pete was onto something.
Ethan Bear, Caleb Jones, I do believe. They were in the McDavid draft. Yeah.
Vinny Darnay.
Darnay, man.
McLeod.
What a story. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's been good.
Vinny's one of my favorite stories. Passed over twice in the draft, battles it out. Just a guy you can root for.
I'm going to have to look at it. How many Oilers have really gone from the 7th round to the NHL? And I don't think it's probably a very small list.
I actually looked it up. There's one that was really good. And I'll just bring it up here very quickly because I know everyone loves to wait on it. Okay, we go back to the 7th round here. And as of late, it's been bad. Like, you don't want to look too recently, but if I scroll all the way down to the beginning of the Oilers franchise history here. Okay, here we go. 7th rounder, Andy Moog. Pretty good player.
Yeah, he kind of became a pretty iconic Oiler.
He worked out for the Oilers pretty well. Kelly Bookber was a 9th rounder. That's even better than a 7th round value.
They don't even do 9th rounds anymore.
No, they do not. They certainly do not. Okay, you've got David Oliver.
Don't know of him.
Don't know of him. I was a fan of him, but I was young and dumb. We also have, not a whole lot.
Yeah.
We're getting closer. We're getting into the 90s and almost the 2000s. Yeah, the 7th rounders haven't worked out too well for the Oilers. Matthew Lombardi, I believe the Oilers didn't sign him. He went back into the draft, and then the Flames drafted him. And I think then the Oilers pulled that thing on Jarrett Stoll. The Flames drafted Stoll. He didn't sign with them. The Oilers took him the next year. Little gamesmanship there. Kyle Brodziak was a 7th round pick by the Oilers. Played almost 1,000 games. Local guy. We should try to get him on one of these nights. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Brandon Davidson was a 6th rounder.
I've heard good things of Philip Kemp from the 2017 draft. You never know, he can make a push. Shout out to the 6th round pick, Skyler Brindamore, son of Rob. So it's just some of these names here is crazy. Yeah, Kevin Bouchard in 2014.
Kevin Bouchard.
Yeah. There was a Greg Chase, who unfortunately never made it to the NHL, but fun. I don't know.
Chase.
Look at these names.
Chase, when he played in the dub for the Hitmen, he was a good player and like frustrating. Like I thought there was an outside chance he could be a guy who's a steal because he was just so frustrating to play against. Yeah, he was good in Calgary. The acting by Waz there on that Lucic answer was spot on. Were you acting?
I was not acting. I was actually whoa, it was actually Lucic. I thought it was maybe Krejci or someone. Either one of those two.
Oh yeah. You got there. Yo, if that Yaremchuk scoop on the Heritage Classic jersey is accurate, that jersey in Desharnais. Yaremchuk's getting scoops now. He's becoming an insider, I think.
It's great to see, especially for the company, and it's funny when we're at the office and Tyler comes out of nowhere, he's like, "Hey guys, I got a scoop." Like, oh, and it's great for everybody, especially for the company, and it's great for him, honestly. And if anything, it brings in maybe more viewers to Oilers Nation every day with Tyler Yaremchuk. So it's always nice to break that news on social media. And he didn't really – I don't think he even got that tip-off on the All-Star thing. He just kind of analyzed it very well. Like, oh,
it was
It
was a good read. It was a very good read. On YouTube, where did we get one here? Someone said good morning. That must be Terry. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Good morning. We're getting close to midnight, so we're almost there.
Yeah.
Tyler Yaremchuk, legendary Oilers insider. Ty Bomb. Yaremchuk is the best on-air personality on the Nation Network. Yeah.
That's the reason why it's on so many podcasts
That
and
years of
live
practice.
shows, you know?
I'll tell you about Yaremchuk behind the scenes. When he first started working at 1260, there was a lot of hype around the guy because everyone's like, hey, this guy works hard. He knows his stuff. He's got the confidence. So we were not surprised to see him have the success that he did. And yeah,
And he's going to the
Yaremchuk.
All-Star game.
Now he's going to the All-Star game. That's how it works. We knew he'd be an All-Star one day. The guy was all over it. Well, I don't know. Do you guys want to keep going here? I mean, it's getting close to midnight. Why don't we go for a couple more minutes?
Yeah,
I'll ask
sure.
you what I like to do. And looking ahead to that next game, Oilers taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets and in Edmonton, 7:30 start on Wednesday. Predictions. What do you think happens in this one?
Well, they just beat San Jose 5-3 tonight. I'm going to go with an Oilers win. I will go 4-2. 5-2. Yeah.
5-2. Okay, I just want to look at this team here. You know what? And for the Oilers, a couple of days off.
Sorry, Connor. It could be a lot worse. They're the last in the league.
Who?
Oh, Columbus. They're last in the league.
Oh, geez. Let's look that up. So I guess we're all the way to the bottom. Yeah, they're 3-7-0 in their last 10. On the road, they're 3-15-1. So they don't play good away from whatever their arena is. Johnny Gaudreau returns to Alberta. Yeah, I think the Oilers get a win here. And you know what? I hope they get a chance to maybe take tomorrow off. Maybe tonight they got to go out, relax, celebrate, playing well, and then focus on getting back to business on Monday. But a couple days off to rest, I think that's a good thing. Stuart Skinner can hang out with the baby boy for a little bit, help out the mom there, maybe change some diapers. It should be very good to see for this team, and yeah, it's going very well. One more time here, got to thank the people who make this show happen. Of course, Gavin and Waz for being there and keeping me going here. But Cornerstone Insurance, check them out, cornerstoneins.ca, and you can use the discount code NATION for an exclusive rate. So check that out. The way insurance is going, if you get a discount, that's going to go a long way. AMA Travel, of course, the Nation Vacation, like I said, going to Toronto. That's going to be March 10th to 12th. If you missed out on Vegas, but you want to go on a Nation Vacation with the fine fellas and ladies of Oilers Nation, go over to nationgear.ca. You can get the information there. An experience powered by AMA Travel and, of course, Betway. A fun way to have some fun. Of course, you got the NFL tomorrow, 19 plus, and bet responsibly. The Oilers victorious in Vancouver tonight, 4-2. And why don't we just leave it at that one? We'll wrap it up. Yeah. Everyone can have a great rest of their Saturday night. Quickly. Enjoy your weekend. Oh, yeah.
One thing I want to mention is I want to shout out everybody for 8,000 subscribers here on YouTube. So thank you, everyone, for subscribing to the Nation Network. We're going to hopefully, have more of these streams, more content rolling your way. So big shout out for 8,000, guys.
So the people who might have just joined in tonight, following the wave into our YouTube chat, we've got Oilers Nation every day at noon with Tyler Yaremchuk. What else can people expect from the Oilers Nation and even the Nation Network was?
Honestly, if you're new here, we have so every Monday we have the Real Life podcast with Jay, Wanye, Tyler, ON Radio podcast Tuesday, and then ON Every Day is every weekday and every game day at noon. So if you want your Oilers fix, we've got you covered.
There's a lot going on, and we had Aaron Bordato, the usual producer here, talking about like Vancouver and stuff and the fun he has with their shows. Obviously right now it's a bit of a tough time, but yeah, Oilers Nation, and then articles too. You guys have tons of great people writing articles.
How could I forget that? Yeah, OilersNation.com.
I got to give a shout out to Gregor. He does his articles. You got Zach Lang. Good stuff going on. And then you're running the TikTok. You're the TikTok superstar. I heard you got recognized in Vegas.
Yeah, I do. I do TikTok. I also do the Instagram. I basically run the social media for Oilers Nation, except for maybe Twitter. The Twitter is kind of a couple different hands, but when it comes to the rest of the socials, I got my hands on there. So every clip that you see on social media is because I had to go clip that. So yeah, I run a lot of the socials. Yeah.
It's appreciated. There's one I just saw a message come in from Peter, and he says, "Don't talk about it." But I'm going to. He hates the wave, and I laugh when the wave gets going. I love to tweet about it because people get so fired up.
Yeah, I have no issue with it, but I'm not going to go into it. Right?
Hey, the way I look at it, if you're crushed like 4 or 5 beers that you paid $15 for, and you get the urge to just stand up, go for
that.
it.
And if you're a kid, like I remember being like 12 years old and being at a hockey game, I see the wave go, I'm like, oh, this is sweet, right? So maybe, I don't know, it's for different people.
Have fun. When you're there, it just takes over. You don't want to be the guy not doing it, right? All right, okay. Well, let's call it a night. Waz, thanks so much for doing this. It was a blast. Like we said, the Oilers victorious 6 in a row. The bad tonight, we mentioned the Vancouver Canucks. Shout out to Bruce Boudreau. We hope the best for him. And the fans were great with their chants. And their uniforms looked good. I'll just throw that out there. Other than that, the Canucks organization right now, kind of a tire fire. We will talk to you on Wednesday. And, of course, Gavin, our producer, didn't hop on. I believe you're in with us next week at some point down in the future. You will make your on-screen debut. But thank you for everything. And, guys, we'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in to Oilers Nation After Dark.